seems fed up with all the free agent speculation after this viral video of him and Katie speaking in the tunnel at the All-Star weekend. Spurred on free agent buzz, Kyrie responded to the craziness. Take a listen to what he said.
A human being talks to another best friend of mine. Like, it's just crazy. You know, this is the stuff that just doesn't make the league fun. Like, it doesn't make the league fun. Nobody helps promote the league even more by doing bull like that. Of just fictitious putting things on, like, what we're talking about. Like, it's crazy. I guess that's what you want.
Chris, what do you make of Kyrie's comments?
I get the frustration. I mean, obviously, you know, every one of those conversations he had with KD, there was something to him in Miami with KD. He waited on the floor. He was like the last player to wait on the floor while KD was giving his acceptance speech, if you will, for the MVP of the All-Star game. And then what we just saw, they all may have been innocent, innocuous conversations, just two friends. And so I get the frustration of maybe everybody's blowing it out of proportion and all that. I understand that. But what Kyrie has to understand is this is a part of the job. He said it doesn't make the NBA fun. Okay, there's plenty of other things that do make the NBA fun. You benefit greatly from this. And every job has an aspect of it that's not fun. Most people's jobs, or a lot of people's jobs, the whole job may not be fun. So anytime you're in the public eye, athlete, politician, the president of the United States, us, you know, you get criticized when you're in the public eye. And if the better you are, the higher you rank, the more you're going to be talked about and criticized. He was interviewed by Rachel Nichols of ESPN, and he said, I get it. This type of media coverage and scrutiny follows the great players, and I'm thankful to be a great player in this league. So he seemed like he got it. I get the frustration. Most people would be frustrated with it. You're psychoanalyzed, and all the speculation may completely be wrong, but it comes with the territory. You're compensated tremendously. You get so many fringe benefits from your job. So when he talked to LeBron and he apologized for, you know, being that young guy that didn't understand things, he should have asked LeBron how you handled the media, because obviously LeBron gets more scrutinized than any player. And LeBron, look, all the years, his last year in Cleveland, his last year in Miami, his last year in Cleveland again, he's never let it get out of control. And obviously everybody was speculating, but he's always somehow been able to just not let it ruin that season for his team or himself. And Kyrie has to kind of learn, and so does Kevin Durant, has to kind of learn how to do that.
You know where the best place for both these guys to go is? New York. I mean, there's no troublesome media there. Nobody shakes you down for a story. People don't follow you around. It's a good place to just kind of hide out and get away. That's how the New York media treats you with such respect that they'll absolutely give him his privacy. I'm with you on, I actually understand it feels like an invasion of privacy. And I think what you're hearing from Kyrie and KD is consistent that, hey, I'm actually okay if you criticize me in basketball. I'm actually okay with that. But, like, I can't even have a conversation with a boy. Like, we can be talking about a million things. Like, some video of me having a discussion with a guy in a hallway suddenly becomes, like, that's us deciding where we're going to play next year.
Right.
Now, look, the smarter decision, you ever seen the movie Clear and Present Danger?
Yes.
Okay, so
Harrison Ford.
Right, remember?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Awesome. Okay, you're with me here.
I don't remember.
Okay, so I'll give you the kind of Reader's Digest version of it. Okay, so a friend of the president, longtime friend of the president, apparently was laundering money for drug lords, right, in South America, and so he's killed on his yacht. So the president's sitting around with all of his henchmen, and they're saying, well, what should we do about this? And all the guys are advising him, like, you guys barely knew each other. You weren't really friends. And Harrison Ford's like, no. Don't say you were friends. Say you were lifelong friends. Because the second you say there's nothing to it, that we're not that close, the media is like, wait a second, you guys grew up together. There's photos of you. Right. He could have, had he just said, like, man, we were just talking about what we did for dinner the night before. Like, had he acted like it was no big deal and not been defensive, it would have gone away. But instead, now you're like, wait a second, there's something to it. They must have been plotting. They must have been talking about which media members do you want to plant stories in. It only feeds the media frenzy more so than then marginalized it.
And both of them are so headstrong, which is a good thing, but they don't want to give the media that. They don't want to they don't want to let you know what they were talking about because they feel like, why do I have to let you know what I'm talking about? It just comes with the territory. And look, Kyrie could have, when he came out in the preseason and said, I want to stay in Boston if you'll have me, that kind of put things to rest.
Had he said it again?
Then you come out and say, ask me July 1st. That's his right. It's his right to change his mind. It's his right. Like you said before, they probably don't know what they're going to do. So it's their right to just be like, look, ask me July 1st. It doesn't need to be talked about now. But you have to understand there's tons of money riding on you. People are really interested in what you do as a player. It's a great compliment, but you just have to be able to deal with it.
I do think we should put into context, this is, as we know, in practice sessions, you're in a scrum. I mean, this is a short snippet of they just came back from All-Star break. They're practicing. That was one piece of what was likely 7 to 10 minutes of him sitting there talking, answering questions. So not just always one answer. We're going to move on to the Lakers as they kick off their post-All-Star push tonight against the Rockets. They are currently 3 games out of the playoff picture, and if they are going to make the postseason, LeBron knows he's going to have to ramp it up.
Well, it's going to be a little bit different, for me now, just knowing the position that we're in. For me personally, I haven't been in this position in a while, and because of my injury, it's kind of, hit our team, and I didn't. Obviously, we would love to have the success where I was out, but we didn't, and this is where we is right now. So, I'm going to be a little bit different, a little bit earlier than I would like to be in previous years. My level of intensity has to be, unfortunately for me, because I don't like to do it at such an early time, I'm a little bit different. But it's been activated, so look forward to seeing what we can do.
It's been activated. It's been activated.
Twin powers activate.
Chris, can LeBron carry the Lakers into the postseason?
I loved what LeBron said, and he does have that next level. I mean, obviously he's 27, 8 and 7 or something like that, kind of coasting. And I have no problem with him coasting in the regular season. He's still playing very well, and at his age, with his wear and tear, he knows what he needs to do to be ready for the postseason. We saw it last year when they were the 4th seed, and people thought maybe they don't get out of the East, and he turns it on, and they do. We saw it the year before, with Toronto and Boston even then. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I think this will tell us, there's people now that doubt, is he still the best player in the world? I think this last run will tell us, yeah, he's still that guy. And I am confident he can get them in the playoffs. I like this attitude from LeBron because when you've competed, look, for him it's been championship or bust since at least 2007, when he first got to the finals with the Cavaliers. That's the last 11 years of his career, 11, 12 years of his career. When it is really not championship or bust, and now it's just, let's just get to the playoffs. It can be hard to get motivated to do that, especially when very likely Golden State is waiting for you at the end of the tunnel, So to hear LeBron talk about this, it's definitely important for us to make the playoffs. I like it, and I think he'll get them in.
I think he'll get them in, but I think it's, the margin for error is really slight. They have the 4th toughest schedule in the West. There's a window here early on in the last part of the season where they play the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, and then I think they play Phoenix like a game after that, right? Those are the ones you have to win. Like the troubling part wasn't even losing to the 76ers because they stole one in Boston. It was, how are you going to lose to the Hawks when they're trying to lose, seemingly trying to lose games, right? How possibly could you do that? So I personally think they're going to get there. I thought that the start of the year, early on in the season when they got off to a slow start, it's because they were figuring out how to play with LeBron. When they figured it out, remember there's a time they're 17 and 10 and they're humming along. Then Rondo gets hurt and he gets hurt and Kuzma was hurt for a couple games and Lonzo's hurt. Assuming Lonzo Ball gets back and gets healthy and nobody else gets hurt, this is a top 4, not top 8 team in the West, regardless of their schedule. And I'm with you. I don't believe he's still the best player in the NBA, but I do believe he still has the ability to go back to the well and bring out those superpowers. He's still an unbelievable player, but I'm wondering whether it's not. There's an old video game, RC Kart. You guys ever play RC kart and you'd hit the nitrous and that's when you would take off, right? But at some point, or like a turbo in Madden, right? When you have the turbo button, if you hold it down too much, you don't have any more turbo left. I do wonder, is there going to be a time when he tries to go to the well or hit that turbo button and there's nothing there? It's like, yeah, now I'm going to start playing hard. Like, yeah, but now you're 34.
Right.
It's just different. I'm fascinated to see, but I think they get that.
Will his approach help some of the younger? Everyone's trying to acclimate themselves to one another. Some of these younger players trying to figure out their role, how they fit with LeBron on the floor. Will his mindset and approach now, as he brings it back to this group, help some of the younger players understand exactly what they need to do on the floor?
I think it will, because this is a learning experience for all of these guys. And we know that even if they get to the playoffs and get swept by Golden State, it's still good for these young guys to go through this. You have to learn how to win. You have to learn what it's like to play in these must-win situations. And really, these last 25 games, we could argue, are like the playoffs for them. So they're going to see him ratchet it up. I think this will be a great learning experience for these guys, because we're all assuming that they're going to be gone. Maybe not. If they don't get Anthony Davis, then this is going to be your team. You make some additions, but Kuzma, Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, and all these guys, they may be who you're playing with the next couple of years if you're LeBron James, if you don't get that huge trade.
I believe that huge trade that was proposed on Twitter was really being leaked from the New Orleans Pelicans, that they weren't throwing in all of those guys, because they do actually value these young players.
Your pick, you can get a few of these.
Right, you can get a few of these guys. You can't have all of them. That's because they actually think, like, Kyle Kuzma is a borderline all-star. They think Lonzo Ball still has a chance to be special. Maybe not an elite #2 draft pick, but he's great defensively. He's the best advanced passer in the NBA, and he's a Swiss Army knife in that he can probably guard 4 positions. And the way you play in basketball, that's invaluable. So I think they want to see it, but there's 2 different NBAs, right? The NBA of all these other teams that don't matter, and guys are periodically playing hard and dialing up in the fourth quarter, and then there's the real games. And I still think LeBron wants to see how these guys play, and the front office wants to see, all right, like Kyle Kuzma, we know you can put up 25 and 30 in one of those other games, but can you put it up tonight against the Houston Rockets? Can you guard your position? Can you switch off on a James Harden and not foul and keep him away from his left hand and make him take contested shots? I think this is a great litmus test for these young players, as well as for LeBron James. How does his body react when he can't take a day off, when he can't dial it back because the team's not good enough for him to mail it in for a game or 2? They need to win as many as possible.
I also think Rajon Rondo is going to be an integral part of helping them get it together.
He's missed over 30 games, 34 games, I believe.
But just the understanding of what it takes.
People are making it, oh, they're not making the playoffs. You're not looking at the context. LeBron's injury, Rondo's injury, Ingram, Kuzma, Lonzo. And I mean, they have it in the roster makeup. It doesn't really fit that well.
Activated. Coming up, who is to blame for all of the Steelers' struggles? That's next on First Things First. Did you play a lot of video games?